Before giving my speech, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever experienced a cyber violence as an eyewitness? During the 2021 Tokyo Olympic Game, as a fan of the Chinese national volleyball team, seeing the loss of the team, I felt unbearable, and so do the crowds. So when they lost the game, everybody took aim at the players, especially at the libero, the position which prevents the balls from touching the ground. She took all the blames, and as the things escalated, the criticism turned into abusive personal attack. She endured a cyber violence which lasted nearly 2 years. The player was quiet for a whole year and hasn't been selected in the second year's national team. I would have guessed that this affected her life as a whole. But a year later, she came back and, with great effort, sharpened her skill. The coach returned her number, and she became one of the best libero in the world. Now, the internet filled with the sound of praise. Well, people do have a clear understanding of what they're doing before, but they still said that the cyber violence has promoted and inspired her to become better, as though they thought it was a nice thing. But then I thought, can't she be better without those personal attacks? Which is to say, I think the violence was both meaningless and harmful. So then I turned my mind onto other stuff. She is an international player, she is famous, and also a public figure. She had a way of proving herself, a platform of doing so. But what about others, those ordinary people? A year ago, a lady entrusted a deliveryman to help her send food to her falling illness. And because of the traffic jam, she gave him 200 yuan for thanking. But then, a storm was broke on the internet because of the tips she offered. People started to say things like, the money offered is too little. Why can't she give more? Is she doing this to humiliate the deliveryman? What has been the pity for the workers turned into their dissatisfaction of life? The violence without any reason has affected the lady's life. She lost her job, sneered at by people both nearby and online, and then, when the stress accumulated to an exploding point, she committed suicide. A life was ended due to the cyberbullying. Her family was ruined, and the deliveryman got into an emotion of distress. So, due to these severe consequences, this had led me to my thought. In the digital age, the information transfer pretty fast, which made people pay too much attention on the things happening with great distance. Many of these were used to be friendly conversation, turning into small argument, and finally leading to the cyber violence. But we have to realize that the information on the internet can be false. The message can be exaggerated and misleading while transferring, and the truth was bound to went wrong in the end. In very rare cases, the false can be corrected with the victim making a really hard effort. But there are still people who couldn't clear the false charges in their whole life. They accompany them and be their nightmare, and the mental trauma can last it a lifetime. And the triple effects can spread far beyond the individual. So then, we need to recognize our action. We are standing at a crossroad where we can choose to turn the tide against the digital threats. So the things I wanted to say is to take responsibility for our own action. Be careful in what we're saying, and what's more, if you're experiencing cyber violence, please use the weapon of law to help. Remember that the one who claims have the duty to give evidence. And due to my thinking of this severe problem, the frequency and the number of the cyber violence happening right now must be decreased. Facing them, at least what we can do is to control our own behavior. We need to keep a clear mind and a subjective rational thinking while surfing online, and think comprehensively first before we comment. Stop being an inflictor, which a tiny movement may be the last weapon to destroy and penetrate a person. Pay attention for what we put in our writing, and together build an online environment which is both healthy, stable, and harmonious. So the above is all my speech. Thank you.